Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Cold Waters of our 1984 campaign playthrough. In the last episode, we went after quite a few different objectives of Soviet tankers and replenishment ships, successfully completing 2 different objectives. But now we've been tasked with intercepting an amphibious landing force heading from Murmansk to Oslo. So we'll go ahead and intercept those and hit continue and get back into the game. So, from what I know of the route from Murmansk to Oslo, they have to go around this whole... Well, they have to go around Norway, essentially. And I will want to sit for them here in deep water, just off the coast of Andoya. Andoya, I'm not sure how you enunciate it. But I'll want to intercept them here, because this will be the best place to do it. I don't know that this is them. We are probably spotted by the enemy reconnaissance flight. But we'll go ahead. Sonar's picked up a new contact designated Sierra 1 bearing 262. We'll close to 20,000 yards. All hands, man battle stations. Make turns for 0 knots.
Make turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
You can see we picked up one vessel.
Maneuvering eye.
Let's take a look at it. This is an enemy submarine, which is not great, but we'll go ahead and fire one torpedo. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 262.
Shoot tube 1, aye sir.
Con sonar, launch transient from
And
Sierra
we can see
1.
we got a launch notification. Dive set depth to 900 feet.
Make depth 900 feet, dive aye.
We'll go ahead, this boat's actually pretty close. We'll set torpedo activation to
Con
just
sonar,
before.
noisemaker bearing 257.
Set weapon sensor to active.
Con sonar.
And it is a
Sierra
Foxtrot
1 is
submarine.
classified.
Con, dive at 900 feet, dive aye.
Con sonar.
And
lost
enemy
contact.
Foxtrot
Sierra
sunk.
1, last bearing 252. Contact breaking up.
We have the enemy torpedo right over us though. We'll go ahead and reload tube 1 with a Mark 48. Let the torpedo pass overhead. And with the torpedo headed off into the distance, it's still a little too close for us to leave combat, but we'll just reassure the crew we're out of danger. It'll explode, and then we'll leave combat. And that was the only enemy in that group. It looks like it was a solo enemy diesel electric submarine. Excellent results, but this was unfortunately not our mission objective. That probably is right there though. So sonars once again detected another contact, this time bearing 55. Designated contact is Sierra 1. We'll order the boat to close to 20,000 yards and all hands man battle stations. You can see here it's much shallower though.
0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
In fact, much shallower than I would like. But we'll go ahead and make turns for 0 knots.
0
We
knots.
do have deep water off this ledge to our left, and that's the direction we're going to run if we need to. Because that is basically a giant cliff that's probably goes down to 1,500 feet or deeper. But so far we haven't picked up anything, which is actually odd. I do hear an enemy sonar trying to ping out there, however. And because we actually have so little... here's why. There's a very strong duct and a very strong thermal layer at 130 feet. That is why we're not picking anything up. So we'll have to go to 100 feet. It's actually at 130 feet. But it's so strong that our sonar waves actually cannot
Con sonar, new
go
contact
through that.
bearing 125. Designated Sierra 1.
Oh, great.
Con sonar, new contact.
Con, dive at 100 feet, dive
There's the enemy fleet. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 051.
Con, fire control, we've lost the wire.
Of course we have. There's also... They fired a torpedo back. We're gonna go ahead and shoot Moss. Shoot tube 4 bearing 072.
Sonar Sierra 3 is classified as merchant.
Reload torpedo and tube. Oh, great.
Con sonar Sierra 4 is classified as merchant.
That torpedo should actually pick up on the
Con
moss.
sonar Sierra 6 is classified as
And we're gonna
merchant.
decrease, just set ballast to -30, which should drop us down.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 5, last bearing 104. Contact faded.
You can see an enemy helicopter came in, is trying to locate us and drop
Passing
depth charges on
Con
us.
sonar torpedo in the water.
We'll
Torpedo
pop
in the
a
water.
decoy.
Bearing 053.
You can see our torpedo has been attracted to the Utiloy. We're gonna do full left rudder, and we're gonna make turns for 10 knots.
Make turns for 10 knots.
There's a reason for that. I want to get under these
Sonar torpedo in the
torpedoes.
Water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing
First they see us
048.
anyway. I'm gonna fire another moss bearing 118.
Aye, sir.
Go ahead and set ballast to 0.
Passing 400 feet.
Make turns for 33 knots. At this point, it's just an opportunity for survival. I know we're cavitating.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 073.
We're gonna go ahead and pop another decoy though. And that torpedo looks like it's gonna hit us, so we're gonna go up.
Passing 400.
Yep, it's hit
Con
us.
sonar no longer cavitating.
We're gonna lay to the rudder.
Lay to the machinery space. Passing 300 feet.
And we need to get up before that water damages us more. We'll drop another decoy.
Passing 200 feet.
And we need to be at like 50. Dive set depth 50 feet.
Depth 50 feet. Dive by.
Con maneuvering, making turns for 10 knots.
Looks like that torpedo actually got attracted to our moss, which is good.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 1, bearing 141. Con sonar
Whew.
regained contact on Sierra 3, bearing 091. Con sonar regained contact
We are slowly
on
losing,
Rudder has been
but we'll go
repaired.
ahead and
Damage
pump
control
out of the
mark. Lead to
reactor
reactor
room
space.
before water gets too low. Make turns for 0 knots.
Make turns. Con sonar no longer cavitating. Con sonar new contact bearing 085. Designated Sierra 8.
Okay. Now that craziness is out of the way, we'll reload a torpedo. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 121.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir. Con. Dive at 50 feet. Dive by.
We need to take out the enemy vessels as
Con
quickly as
sonar
possible.
regained contact on Sierra 6.
Set weapon
bearing
1 to active sensor.
099. Con sonar lost
And that's an
contact.
impact on enemy
Sierra 2,
Utiloy.
last bearing 153. Contact breaking up.
Alright. Helm set course bearing 100.
Come right to 100. Helm I.
Maneuver, make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering I.
You can see the giant gash in the rear end of our sub, but we are still an operational boat and have a mission to complete. We'll go ahead and now make turns. Make turns for
Helm.
0 knots.
Make turns for 0. Make turns for 0 knots.
And reload
Maneuvering
tube
I.
1 with a torpedo. We are going to fire off 2 torpedoes. One bearing 070, fire tube 2 bearing, 068.
Con. Fire control. We've
Of course we have, that's just our luck. Fire tube 3 bearing 107, 108.
Shoot tube 3. Aye, sir.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 056. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 7, last bearing 0, 5, 8. Contact breaking up.
Oh, I think our torpedo accidentally sunk another enemy vessel, which is great. Torpedo 9, I believe, is tracking onto Sierra 9. It is.
Con
That is
sonar,
without a doubt an
noisemaker
enemy
bearing
escort
1,
vessel,
0,
and
7.
it's now been sunk.
Con sonar.
I think
Sierra 9 is classified as
Sierra
escort.
8, which is a trawler, unfortunately is going to be hit by a torpedo, and there's nothing we can do about that. We do have Sierra 1, a cannon coming into our south. Weapons, fire tube 1, bearing 140.
Shoot 2-1. Aye, sir. Passing 100 feet. Damage control parties. Lay to the engine room.
And we'll go ahead and set depth back to 50 feet.
Make depth 5.
Looks like we had some
dive
partial flooding get in.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra.
Con, dive at 50 feet. Dive by.
Weapon 1 is
fire
going to
control,
track
weapon
onto the
acquired.
cannon. It knows that weapon sensor to active.
Con sonar noisemaker bearing 1, 3, 5.
We'll turn the torpedo back to the left, hopefully go through the sensor,
Con,
pick
fire
the
control,
ship back
weapon
up,
acquired.
which it has. And impact.
Con
Little
sonar
early.
lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 1, 3, 1. Contact breaking up.
And with that, we'll go ahead and reload all tubes to tomahawk anti-ship missiles.
Con, torpedo room. Tube 1 ready.
When this happens, what's going to happen is I'm going to raise
Con,
all the
torpedo
mast
room. Tube 2 ready.
to go ahead, get a picture. We're going to snapshot all 4 missiles, and we're going to go ahead and navigate back towards the deep water off our left at maximum speed because there are enemy helicopters still out
Con,
there.
torpedo room. Tube 3
Unfortunately, with 57% hull, it means we can't dive to our full test up to 950 feet. I'm just going to basically have it to 450, so I'll probably put us down to about 300. I don't want to put us down to 300 feet. I'd like to stay at 100 if that would be best, because a major issue is
Damage control party. Lay to the machinery space.
the fact of
Tube 4 ready.
when you go that depth, the water pressure gets so much greater, it's just going to start pushing into the submarine. So we're going to go ahead and raise all of our mast. Are we going to get a picture on anything? Not really. And we do have an enemy helicopter around still. I don't see it anywhere though, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot one missile off in that direction.
2-1. Aye, sir.
And if we incur the helicopter's wrath, then we do just that. Oh, looks like we will.
Downscope. Lower the radar.
Lower the mast, and we're just going to fire off the rest of the missiles.
Shoot 2-2. Aye, sir. Shoot 2-3. Aye, sir. Shoot 2-4. Aye, sir.
With that, make turns for 10 knots,
Con sonar,
5
we are
knots,
cavitating.
because apparently that's all we can do. Set
Con
depth to
sonar,
100 feet.
No longer cavitating. Con sonar lost contact.
Con, dive at 100 feet. Dive by.
Great, and it does have another torpedo
Con
left.
sonar. Torpedo in the water. Torpedo in the water. Bearing.
We are going to go ahead and launch a
5,
decoy. Here's the issue. We're going to have to go up and down to avoid these enemy torpedoes.
Torpedo in the water. Bearing 3, 5, 0.
Now we're going to go up.
Damage control parties. Lay to the reactor space.
Keep in mind we only have 10 knots of maneuver to do, so
0 knots.
this may well be the end. We're going to go ahead and reload Tomahawk anti-ship missiles though, in
0
case
knots.
we do get another shot. Launch another decoy. Go up. Set planes to max, set ballast to max.
Passing 300 feet.
Torpedoes locked back on.
200
Launch decoy. And put planes to -30, set ballast to 0,
100 feet on
launch
sonar.
another
We are
decoy,
cavitating.
make turns for 5 knots.
Con sonar, no longer cavitating.
The torpedo just went underneath us. We don't have any more moss to launch. The 2 enemy vessels are sunk. We're gonna do something insane, fire off another missile in that direction because we know there are more enemy ships, and launch a torpedo, or replenish with torpedoes because we're out of anti-ship missiles. Now make turns for 10 knots,
Con sonar, we are cavitating.
launch another decoy,
Make turn.
and the enemy torpedo just ran out of juice. And I think we managed to spoof the other torpedo. It's going to go under us.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
It's going to come back around
Con,
and explode because it ran out of fuel. Woo!
knots.
Alright. Our missile is still tracking through the air.
Con,
It's found the
torpedo room,
target
tube 1 ready.
Con sonar,
and
contact.
impact.
Sierra 6, last bearing 10.
It's another enemy
Contact
vessel
bringing up.
on the bottom. We're going to let it sink, which it has now, and we're going to fire off another missile.
Tube 3 ready.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
The reason for that is because at this point the enemy helicopter, I believe, is out of resources basically to defeat us. It's launched both of its torpedoes and quite a few different salvos of depth charges. It has no place to return to, unfortunately, though. But we're going to launch these missiles one by one. That way we know we won't hit the same ship over and over
Torpedo room,
again,
Tube 4 ready.
because we don't want to hit the same ship when we've already sunk it over and over again, because that's just a waste of missiles.
Contact. Sierra 10. Last
That's
bearing 0,
another
92.
enemy
Contact breaking up.
transit vessel. This time looks like it was carrying military supplies. And with it going down, we'll launch our final missile at Sierra 6.
Shoot tube 3. Aye, sir.
There it goes. We'll go ahead and let it... Actually, we'll go ahead and track it off into the distance.
Con, torpedo room, tube 3 ready.
It's picked up a vessel, a target. It's gonna go in
Con sonar, lost contact.
and hit Sierra 5,
Last bearing 120.
which should
Contact
be the
breaking
last
up.
enemy replenishment vessel. And with that, we will leave combat. And you can see that was indeed the last enemy vessel. Well, we do have damage to our propulsion. We will hit continue, though. We managed to successfully evade all the torpedo depth charges and still sink the enemy fleet. And Atlantic Fleet, great job. Pleased to hear the expected invasion of Oslo and Norway has been repelled. Stand by for new orders on this downlink. We will hit continue. For that, we have been awarded the Distinguished Service Medal to Commander Tobias Smith, Commanding Officer USS Buffalo, SSN 715. Awarded for exceptionally meritorious service as Commanding Officer USS Buffalo, SSN 715, Tobias Smith's steadfast devotion and superior tactical decisions have consistently brought success to his unit in action. His conduct reflects great credit upon him, this command, and is in keeping with the highest traditions of the United States Naval Service. We will hit continue. Here we go. Norway defended. Oslo, Norway. A massive coordinated sea-based landing has been repelled. I'll avoid the top part, but on the bottom, that is also the same, so you're more than welcome to read it, but we will continue on. And we have been ordered to immediately return to Holy Loch, Scotland for repairs and to replenish stores. And I can promise you, that is what we will do. We will immediately set sail back for Scotland. And we will sail between Ireland and Scotland back to Holy Loch, where we have now gathered quite a few more tonnage. It's now been 16 days at war. We've successfully completed 6 missions, mainly adding to our other warships sunk. I think we sunk 1 submarine and a couple of merchants, bringing our total up to 35 total vessels sunk. Our capital ship tonnage remains the same. Our warship tonnage, however, rises up to 52,330. Our submarine tonnage now sits at 45,595, and perhaps most impressively, our merchant tonnage now sits at 96,400 tons. Mainly because we just sank 4 enemy vessels in that last outbreak, or in that last invasion. But looks like while we are replenishing, a wolf pack of enemy attack submarines is returning after successfully operating against NATO shipping in the North Atlantic, and is going to attempt to transit through the Gyuk area towards the home base, where they will then prep for new operations. Orders are to attack and sink them before they have a chance to rearm. We will spend 13 hours in port making repairs. We'll go ahead and grab our 2 Moss, load 1 into Tube 4, pick up a total of 8 Tomahawk anti-ship missiles, and load the rest of our stores with Mark 48s. You can see we did have our propulsion permanently damaged. We did need to go ahead and repair it, which we did. That added another 12 hours to our time in port, though, which now makes our time in port 34 hours. But we'll go ahead and cast out now. Unfortunately, with that much time having passed, it's likely that the enemy submarines have made significant kind of progress in their transit from the Gyuk area. I'm not sure. Oh, that's them right there. Because they are coming across the SOSUS network back into basically the waters of the Greenland Sea area, the North Sea. Sonars managed to pick them up bearing 107. Designated 1 vessel at Sierra 1 will close to 20,000 yards. All hands man battle stations. Will immediately make turns for 0 knots.
Turn for 0 knots. Maneuvering aye. Make
We
turns
have
for
picked up
0
something.
knots. Maneuvering aye.
You see Sierra 1. You can see we can't see us. Again, a little bit cheaty. Oh, there we are.
Contact bearing 353.
These are both
Designated
enemy
Sierra
vessels. But we're gonna go ahead. Weapons, fire tube 1 bearing 112.
Shoot tube 1. Aye, sir.
Shoot tube 2 bearing 003.
Shoot tube 2. Aye, sir.
And actually, we're gonna dogleg these.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is cavitating.
There's Sierra 1.
Con sonar, Sierra 1 is classified as
We'll
submerged
grab-
submarine. Con sonar.
We can see
Con
we've grabbed
sonar,
a
log
Tango
transient from
and a
Sierra
Whiskey.
2.
We'll go ahead and grab Torpedo 1, move it, let it activate, and then move it down to the
Fire
south.
control. Weapon acquired.
Where it's acquired, we'll set the weapon
Con
sensor to
sonar,
it for
noisemaker
active.
bearing 006.
We'll now follow Tube
Con
2.
sonar,
You can see
noisemaker
that
bearing
what the enemy
119.
Tango submarine did here
Fire
was
control, weapon
send a
countermeasure
reciprocal
only.
torpedo in the direction that the torpedo came from, which is good, which is why we doglegged the torpedo, so the torpedo should pass in front of us
Con
harmlessly.
sonar, noisemaker
We'll go
bearing
ahead and set that to an active
006.
sensor too, though.
Con. Fire control.
And
Con sonar,
let
lost contact.
Tube 2
Sierra
follow
1,
on.
last bearing 122.
Looks
Contact
like it
breaking up.
just managed to avoid. We did hit the enemy Whiskey submarine, which I believe is just a diesel-electric boat. The Tango may also be, I'm not sure though. We'll
Con
go
sonar,
ahead,
noisemaker bearing
guide
357.
Tube 2 in,
Con. Fire control. Weapon acquired.
and
Con
impact.
sonar, noisemaker bearing 355.
But we'll go ahead and reload Tubes 1 and 2. And because I have a sneaking suspicion there's another submarine out there, we're going to order sonar to go active.
Con sonar, switching to active search.
Con, torpedo room, tube 2 ready.
But it doesn't appear so.
Con, torpedo
We're
room,
not getting
tube
any
1 ready.
pings back, and we're not picking up anything, so that might actually be it. So we'll go ahead and go
Con
back to
sonar,
passive.
Switching to passive search.
We can't quite leave because there are enemy weapons still nearby, but we'll speed up time to let the enemy torpedo that I believe the Tango fired gain some distance. We now finally have enough distance and we will leave combat. And it turns out that was it. Excellent. Alright, ComSub Lant, which I believe was Submarine Command Atlantic, was very happy to hear about your recent success, Commander. The Soviets should be aware that the Atlantic is our waters and that any attempt to operate in it will be forcibly dealt with. The excellent work of you and your crew is what gets that message across. Well done. Await further orders. And with that, convoys have been protected. You can read through that if you want to, but we'll move on. And we have another submarine intercept mission here. This time it's a wolf pack of enemy cruise missile submarines that will attempt to break out into the North Atlantic to attack NATO supply convoys. We're to locate and sink these enemy vessels. We had a status report, make sure all the tubes are loaded, and then we will continue on course. We do have news from the front though. Hope for West Germany, 21st December 1984. NATO troops have crossed the border back into West Germany, retaking much of the ground lost to the Soviets. Analysts assume that NATO command still considers the situation to be too volatile for any solid assessments. Recent successes suggest that the war situation may have been tipped into a NATO advantage. Naval experts assess the dominance of the Atlantic is in NATO hands, as U.S. Navy press officials report positive outcomes of recent engagements with the Soviet fleet. And I think with that positive news, that's where we'll go ahead and end it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you hit the like button if you liked, hit the subscribe button down below if you want to see more videos in the future, and if you want to be notified when new videos are released, hit the bell icon below. Also leave a comment down below with what you liked about the video or with what you disliked. I'm always looking to make improvements. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and bye bye.